Hey guys, this is the Simply Vegas real estate website. First of all credit goes to Blue Roof 360. They were the ones who actually built the website. I'm going to recreate this in Webflow, or at least the hero section right now. So let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into it. So I'm going to add a section, and it's going to be 100 viewport height. And actually, I'm going to switch that to a minimum height because it might bleed out just a little bit. And we'll call this section 1. My naming is probably not going to be very good for this, but that's okay because this is just for fun. We're going to add a div block, and we're going to make it our hero div, and we're just going to make it 100%, which again is that minimum height of 100 viewport width. We're going to make it flex, and then 100% width just in case. Okay, so we basically have three sections here. We have this nav bar over here, and then we have this content area, and then the image video area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a div block. This is going to be our, I'm going to put it in the hero div. This is going to be our left side, and I'm going to make it, say, 18 viewport width, and make it 100% so it goes all the way down to the bottom. Make that relative. Okay, let's make it 100 viewport height. Okay, that's gonna be good. And I'm gonna be using this a lot. It's called I think it's called like the eyedropper or the color picker or something like that to find my colors. So I'm gonna add a background color here of 222, and we're gonna call this our left sidebar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a link block. This is going to be our brand image, this logo that we see on the left side. Okay, I'm going to click out of that. And then I'm going to add my image, and then find my image. And there we go. That should be good. Okay, so I'm going to make it 90%. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 15 viewport height. That's how much padding I want. And then we'll say, oh, I don't know, 5% just for now. That's probably way too much. Yeah, we'll say 2%. And this link block, okay, let's see how it looks. Yeah, that looks okay. Let's bring it down to 1%. And then let's also add a 1% padding on the right side just for some safety. And then we'll add some of these buttons in on the left side. So let's add in, these are going to be link blocks. Doesn't really matter for this example, but we'll just put them as link blocks. We'll say 20 for now. We'll probably have to make some adjustments. And then we'll add some text. This is going to be white. And we're not going to have an underline. It's going to be home. And if you ever want to find the font, colors, weights, whatever, get this what font Chrome extension. Okay, so it's white, Lado 300. I've got Lado set as my font, and I'm actually going to use viewport width as my font size because as we adjust the screen size, we're going to need these sections to size up perfectly when we size down the screen. So we're going to keep it as that. And then I'm going to take this and give it a little bit bigger of a padding. Give it a left margin of 5%. Let's say 8%. And then we can basically just copy and paste this down. We do have to add a div block. We have to put these inside of the div block, and then we have to make it flex vertical so that they are not side by side, but they are stacked on top of each other. So we'll make it flex, vertical, and then we'll call this our sidebar flex. Okay, and we'll probably need to make this font a little bit bigger. So we'll say something along the lines of 2 viewport width, probably a little bit too big. So we'll say 1.4. And then we'll also add a height of 1.8 viewport width. And that should be good for now. We'll probably make some more adjustments in a second. These also need an image on the left side of them. They're actually using SVGs through embed codes, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I snuck into their code and added a little bit or took these SVGs that they had, and we're just going to drop them in as embed code. So we're going to save and close. And then we're also going to make these link blocks. We'll call these sidebar link, just so you can see what's going on. We'll make it flex. We'll center it. And then we'll also add just a little bit of, we'll call these our, I don't know, sidebar icon. And then we'll make it that was actually pretty good. We'll say 5. And then one last thing we need to do is we need to make it flex, because the embeds unfortunately do not size perfectly in these embed blocks for some reason. I'm not sure why. But okay, so now what we can do is we can just copy and paste this over and over again. I don't know, I think there's like 9, 10 of them, something like that. I'm not going to go in and add all of these icons. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But if you want to see where I got them, just go to inspect. And then you can type in neighborhoods, for example, and you can go here, and this is the link. And let's see here. Okay, so we have the link right there. And basically, you'll just look through here and look for the icon, and it's going to be written like just like this. It's going to start out with SVG and end with SVG. So we can size up and down and see how it is looking. Probably still a little bit too big. So we'll size it down just a bit here. Go down to 1.2, and that is looking much better. Perfect. We'll give it a little bit more of a height. We'll say 30, and we'll keep it as that for now. I mean, I'm a little bit picky, so I'm always going to be making adjustments. But let's move on to the second one. We've already got the left sidebar. Let's go on and add a new div block, and this is going to be our middle content. You can call it whatever you want, doesn't really matter. And we'll make it 40 viewport width, and then the height's going to be 100%. We'll make it that minimum height of 100 viewport width. All right, we can add an H1 now. It's going to be this really big real estate text. And again, we can use our what font extension to find, we have Oswald, 500 weight, and then we can take this orange color and drop it right in here. We'll call this one our H1. So let's see, we have Oswald, 500, and then our color. And then it's also all caps, so we can add that there. And you might see a font size here. We're not actually going to use this because, again, we need it to size. As the screen gets bigger and smaller, we need it to size correctly. So we're going to use viewport width. We could use some of these other ones here, but just for right now, I'm just going to use viewport width. I'm going to use 4 and then 4.5. I have no idea how close that's going to be, but we're going to stick with that for now. And then we'll also add let's say a 5%, say a 2% padding on both sides. Real estate made simple. Okay, obviously this is too small, so we can just size it up a bit. We'll say 6 and 6.5. That looks much better. Let's see how big we can get it. Yeah, let's do 6.5, and we'll stick with that for now. And then we will give it a 5% padding. Perfect. And again, you can see as we size it up and down, it's going to stay within these margins because we set it to viewport width. All right, so luxury homes, luxury service, Oswald, 500, and then we'll take this color. So let's add in a new text block. You can give it a name. I'm not going to because it's not too big of a deal for this example. I'll say 2 viewport width. So it's luxury homes, luxury service, I believe. Luxury homes, luxury service. It's going to be all caps. So we're going to make it all caps. And I believe it was 500, but it was Oswald. And there we go. Probably make it a little bit bigger. So we'll say 2.5. And just so we can see it, 3. And voila. Let's give it a 2 viewport height pad. Let's do 2 viewport width padding. And now we can add in another text block. And this one's going to be this 555 color. Lado 300. So let's make it Lado 300. Don't forget to give it a good name, because you don't want to make a bunch of repeat classes or a bunch of text block 3 classes, because it doesn't look good when you make the site a lot bigger. Okay, and then we're going to add a 2 viewport height padding. This one we're going to add a 4 viewport width, and then we'll switch this to viewport width. And we can copy all of this so we can get a better idea of how things are sizing up. We'll copy all of this, perfect, and then we will use our 555 color, and this is going to need to be a light, and then we'll do 1.5 viewport width. Might be a little bit big, but let's check it out. Actually, that's really, really good. One thing I do want to do is I want to bring this down to a 2.5 and then bring this up to a 1 maybe. Yeah, that looks pretty good, because we're going to need a little bit of room to add these images in here on the right side. And let's go ahead and add finish up with this, our featured properties. This is a link, so it's Oswald 500. Let's see here. It's pretty close to this, so I'm going to copy and paste it and then duplicate the class of this luxury homes. And let's duplicate the class, name it something good. Okay, we're going to make it this orange color. So we'll take that, just copy and paste it right into here. And I believe it was a little bit bigger, so it was a 500 Oswald. That looks actually pretty close. What is this one? 27. You can't see it from here. 30. So it's just a tad bit bigger. Our featured properties. Our featured properties. And we'll say like 2.7. Boom. And then we'll give it a max width of 8 viewport width. Nope. Oh boy, what's going on here? 12 viewport width. Give it 16. There we go. That is a winner. And then we will add in this play button. Let's see if I can find this, because I actually didn't download this one. Okay. So we've got this scroll icons. Let's see. Here it is. So we're going to take this SVG, make sure. Okay. So I've got that correctly. I'm going to add in another embed code. Going to put that right here. Make it a 2 viewport height. 2 viewport width, actually. And boom. Let's make it a little bit smaller than that. And that looks really, really good. Maybe take this and make it a 2.5 viewport height instead of viewport width. Boom, I really like that. That looks really good, and it looks really close to what they've gotten here. So we'll keep it as that for now. Now we're gonna move on to this right side, and we'll add in some of these graphics. So what they've got going here is actually just a background image with a linear gradient that is repeated. It's not an SVG, it's not an image, and I'll show you what they've got. So we'll add in another div block. What is it? We have 40 viewport width here and 18 here. Oh boy, let's do some math. And I think that is, oh my goodness, I can't even think right now, 60. So we need 42 viewport width. Okay, so 40 viewport width. We're going to call this our right images. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make it static, because we're going to have some absolutes. And we will add in a div block, and we'll make this one absolute, and this is going to be our orange linear block. We're going to make it go down to the very, very bottom, and we'll have it 3 viewport height from the bottom. And we'll make it 100% and then a 8%, or sorry, 8 viewport width. We'll make it 150%, and then what we need to do is we need to bring it over 50, because that is now full width plus 50 over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add an embed code. Doesn't really matter where you add it. I'm just going to put it inside. And then I'm going to take this orange linear class, and this is all they've done. It's a background image that's repeating, and that's where they're getting these dashed lines basically, or the slanted lines. And that's it. It looks really, really cool, and it's just a simple way to do something like that. So props to them for thinking outside the box on that one. Then we'll add this image, and we'll say let's do 125%. Do relative, and again, let's bring it over 25%, and let's make it absolute. Bring it down to the bottom, and nice. And then we'll make it 150%. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll keep it at 125% and then bring it negative 25. And that's really good. It looks really good. Just a little bit, it's bleeding a little bit too much. So we're going to do a couple things. One thing is I'm going to bring it down to 120. And now I'm going to bring this to 20. And I'm also going to take this and I'm going to make it so it can't go past 70% of the viewport width. And I'm going to size it down just a little bit as well to 1.3, and then we'll make this 1.8, 1.7, and let's just make it 75. There we go, perfect. So it's 4 lines, and it looks pretty close to what we've got here. One thing I did miss was the background color. That makes a big difference. So we'll take this background color with our eyedropper, and we'll bring a background to this middle content, and boom, it's looking really, really, really close. I think this is a little bit too big. This text is just a little bit too big. So we'll make it 2.4. I think it's got to be 2.4. And then we'll make this one 2.5, something like that. And then just bring it down just a little bit. And boom, that's a lot closer. It's not perfect, but you know, I could sit here and make adjustments all day. But the basic idea of this is just to show you, how something like this is accomplished in Webflow. Okay, so let's bring this down to 144. Bring this down to 44. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and make adjustments all day. Next, let's bring in this background video on this right side. So we're going to add a background video. And we're going to upload a video. I already downloaded it, but again, you can do the same thing. Just go to right-click, inspect, and then basically just find it in the style sheets. And let's find it here. Give it a second to transcode, and boom. Let's make it 100%. Give it a good name, but that's looking really good. It's looking really good, looking really close to what they've got, and yeah, I mean, I really, really like this. One thing we can do is I can see that this image is kind of cut off on the right side a little bit. So what we can do is we can take this image and we'll call this our homepage hero graphic. Again, make sure you're naming these correctly because I am not. And we'll make this 155. That's pretty big, but that's okay. 155. Oh, there we go. That looks great. That looks really good. Bring it down to 150 and then bring it over to the left just a little bit. And see how it's looking. Maybe a little bit more to the right. Okay, I think that should be pretty good for now. Oh yeah, that's looking a lot better. That's looking a lot better. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add this little nav bar up here. I don't know, the sign-in bar. So what we can do is we can add a div block, and we'll make it, because I've already sized everything up, I'm just going to make it fixed so it doesn't affect anything else. And then we'll make it 100%, and we'll add in we'll call this our black top nav bar, and we'll add in some text, and this text is going to be, let's see here, we'll make it 50 so we can see it. Call it sign in. Okay, and then let's see here, let's add a background to it. And then let's change the font color to white. Bring it all the way over to that right side over there. Give it a padding of 5 viewport width. Maybe give it a padding on top and bottom of 5. And then again, we have a SVG icon. So we'll basically add that in over here. We'll add an embed. Paste it in there. We need to do a couple things. First of all, make that flex. Give it a 5 padding. And then we'll center it. Oh, looks like I put in the wrong one. Let's see here. SVG polyline. Maybe this one's it. I put in the home icon. Okay. There we go. That is looking really, really good. It's looking really close to it. Man, I could sit here and make adjustments all day. We could take our eyedropper and, you know, change these colors because they're not quite perfect. Not supposed to be white. They're supposed to be more of a, oh, that's way too dark. Something like this. Something like that. And sidebar icon we're gonna make completely white. So, you know, I could sit here and make adjustments to it for a while, but sweet. This is the Simply Vegas Real Estate. Again, check out Blue Roof 360. They're the ones who created it. I'm just recreating it in Webflow, showing you how it's done, and it can be done. So we will see you in the next video.